Hello, good day, beautiful people. I am the Inspirational Lady Noble 365 Turtle. Welcome to my channel. I greatly appreciate you being here. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. I'm sure you will love this vibe, and everything you need to know about me is in the description below. This can be past, present, or future. You or someone around you. So take what resonates and leave the rest for someone else. This is a general read. This is not a personal read. If you'd like a personal read, check out the description below. Today we're tapping into water signs. We're tapping into all of the water placement zodiac signs, sun, moon, or rising, or placement in your birth chart. Water signs, we're doing a palm read for today. And we have the Ace of Diamonds here, the wealth line, okay? The Ace of Diamonds, the wealth line, okay? And it says here, the quality of your health, okay? That's what this line is about, okay? The longer and deeper the wealth lines are, the more prosperous an individual's economic situation and wealth accumulation ability. On the contrary, shallower or shorter lines indicate that the wealth situation may be poor. However, the wealth lines are only an indicative factor, and the real wealth situation depends on personal efforts and many other factors. So this card clearly, water signs, is telling you that this is a representation when it comes to palmistry. This line here lets you know on whether or not you will be wealthy or how prosperous of the potential that you have in your life pertaining to the growth of your wealth, the growth of your prosperity. But I like the final sentence here. It says, the real wealth situation depends on personal efforts and many other factors. And so this is just a tool, this palm reading card, and they're showing you the wealth line in your hand, in your thumb finger here. But there are also water signs letting you know that there are many other factors in your life that can assist you in changing your conditions. If you are living in a situation that is unfavorable to you, where you are desiring more prosperity, you are desiring more wealth, or just the ability to be more victorious and successful in your life, there are many other factors that can affect and benefit you in either a negative or a positive way. And because we have free will and we have free choice, the choice is yours. So if you're in a situation, water signs, where you feel things need to be changed, you're looking for increase, you're trying to create an extra stream of income, well, Spirit wants you to take in accountability many different factors that could be at play. Could it be, your spending habits? Could it be having a lack mentality, how you think or feel about yourself? Okay, do you speak negatively over yourself? Do you do a lot of hypothetical thinking? Are you reluctant in your actions as far as pursuing your goals? Are you someone who's frugal with the finances that you do have? Are you someone willing to take advantage when you see discounts or something on sale? Or are you likely the person to shun away, like, oh no, I don't use that brand, I don't care that it's on sale, I'd rather pay $5 more? And so I'm just giving you some examples, but there are many things and many areas that could play a factor when it comes to your wealth, when it comes to you being prosperity. And as it says here, the quality of your health is your wealth. And so we've heard that repetitively, that your health is your wealth as well. And so because we know that things work together for the good, all things, as within, so without. And so, maybe there are some things when it comes to your health that you need to pay attention to or be more accountable for. Now, this isn't to give a health scare. No, I'm not a licensed medical physician, nor is this medical advice. But they're saying if there are some things that has been bothering you personally, water signs, that you feel you need to tend to, then it will be a good time for you to just take full accountability. And if you need to see your licensed medical physician to make that doctor appointment, to check on your health, or if it's something as simple as, you know what, I need to cut back, on eating this, or I need to cut back on drinking that. Well, Spirit is clearly saying this would be a great time to work on creating more balance in your life. Maybe letting go habits that are diminishing or hindering your development and growth. when it comes to your health, when it comes to your finances, when it comes to your well-being overall. So, water sign, someone has double Scorpio placement. This is a good time to take full accountability and responsibility. Only you know what your situation is. Only you know what is going on with you currently, and only you know what you want to change. No one can tell you what that is. Okay. So this will be a good time to go into reflection mode and be honest with yourself, and not only sit and think about it, but actually, walk the walk. Begin the process of making these changes. If you're someone who likes to eat a lot of fast food, that could be dwindling your bank account or creating some kind of energy of lack. Maybe there's an energy of overspending. You have to sometimes eat at home. It's okay to get in your kitchen and cook a meal. It's not a bad thing. It doesn't mean that there's something wrong with you because you want to go in your kitchen and cook a nice, healthy meal. Uh, but it's okay to eat out and treat yourself as well. But if you're someone who does this repetitively, to the point that you find that a majority of your income or the finances that you have is going to take out, this is something, area that you need to reflect on. You need to reflect on making changes in that area, even if you have to get in meal prepping situation. I'm picking up on someone who could work a lot of hours. Maybe you're busy, and you work a lot of hours, or you just have a lot going on. You have a lot going on. You're very adventurous. You could work a job and a half. You could be a person with a family. Just a lot of responsibilities and a lot of duties. And so, in order to make things easier for you, maybe I said meal prep because maybe you need to like plan ahead. Have portions ready that are ready to go. You have to do nothing but heat them up, or they're already in a container. You can take them with you. That kind of thing. Carrying a light snack with you, so when you're out, you're not likely, as you drive and you smell those aromas coming through your windows, you're not likely to stop at a restaurant. You're not likely to stop and go through a drive-through. Because you smell that good aroma. It's okay to treat yourself, but when it gets to a point where it's affecting you and you're overindulging, that's when Spirit is saying it's time to do some recalibration and, let go of those habits. At least work towards it. Take action. You do not have to sit in the woe is me and reflect on what you desire, what you wish you could have, and just fantasize. You can actually obtain and experience the life that you desire, water signs. There is no one or nothing in your way. Source is saying, the only thing you need to do is take action, and change those habits. For someone else, it may be shopping. Maybe you're a shopaholic. You love to shop. Who doesn't love to shop? Okay. Darn well, you have clothes in your closet with the tags on that you haven't even worn yet. Or you have clothes that you've only worn once. Clothes that are like new, new, new. You've only worn once. But, for some reason, whenever you're bored or you want to fill some kind of void, you tend to want to go shopping. And it's come to a point where you could have more than one closet in your home. Come on now, I'm picking up on the energy. You could have a closet in your room is full. Maybe your spouse doesn't have space because you shop so much. And it's time to let go of some of those things. The things that you're not going to wear, you're not going to use. Spirit is saying donate them or pass them along. But it'd be a good idea to do some decluttering, and work on not purchasing things you don't need. As I shared before previously, the next time if you are a shopaholic when it comes to clothes and shoes and purses and hats or whatever, the next time you're in the store and you see something you want, I want you to pick it up. Pick it up. Hold it in your hand. But I want you to ask yourself before you purchase it, is this something I really need? And whatever answer pops in, take accountability for it. If yes, you need it, go ahead, go for it. But I'm pretty sure if you're one of those people who have a lot of wonderful, beautiful clothes, you love to look nice, and it's okay to look nice, but you have an overflow. You have a plethora. You have so many clothes and shoes, male or female, because I'm picking up an energy of a guy who loves tennis shoes. You could own possibly over 40 pairs or more. Okay, you love shoes, and when you shop, you don't buy one pair. You get two and three at one time. You have such a large wardrobe collective that you have enough to dress you and a couple of other people. Meaning, if someone was to come over your house, maybe they spent the night, or someone come in from out of town, or whatever, you have enough clothes to give away. Or, you know, you can have these. Take these J's. I only wore them once. You know what I'm saying? Or take these. Take these. They ain't in style no more. Go ahead. You got these Air Max here. They don't. And they've only been worn once or twice. Like there's not even a stitch of dirt on the thread. The thread in the tennis shoe is still white. Now that's crispy. You take very good care of your things as well, which is wonderful. But Spirit wants you to get in the habit of hoarding these items, because I'm picking up you actually worn some of these things one time and that's it. And you have nice things, beautiful. I see someone with very nice clothing. Doesn't matter what the price is or the brand is, but very nice clothing. And Spirit just wants you to come out of that. That can assist you in increasing your finances and your ability of wealth. Okay? And we're not just talking about finances here. We're talking about, wealth and health. Wealthy relationships. Relationships that has reciprocity, that are beneficial. In all areas of your life. Being able to communicate effectively and efficiently, having a good relationship with your children, being resourceful, being able to bring remedy to your own problems when they arrive in life. Being very resourceful. That's called being self-efficient. And so there's a need for you to uh, focus on balancing your life in different areas. But Spirit is saying you don't have to work on everything at once. Is that the whole idea of you picking one thing, collective, one area, and working on that one thing? It's going to slowly but surely pivot you in the right direction, or the next direction, excuse me, that your life needs to have some attention drawn to. So you don't have to do everything at once. You can just pick one area and take your time. There's no rush. And just begin to work on that. Not pulling over and going to that restaurant every day. There's 7 days in a week. You do not have to go to a restaurant 6 days a week. You really don't. And I'm pretty sure your gut, like, okay, we want some home cooked food now. We want some home cooked food now. And so also getting in the habit, of not buying things you don't need. Getting in the habit of decluttering, making sure you're keeping, you know, um, making it possible so that the energy and the air can flow around your home, your living space, your office, your bedroom. Making sure you're not hoarding items. Okay, and just being mindful. With the Three of Cups here, this represents, gathering with like-minded energy, and the energy of celebrating, with friends in the community. But you be happy, but you don't want to. Spirit is saying, water signs, they want you to be happy, but they don't want you to be fake happy. They don't want you to live a life of having to put on, pretend. You know, when you see your friends, you're putting on a smile, but actually on the inside, you're worn out, you're depleted. And so there's a need for you to work on this balance and recalibration so that you can have more harmony when it comes to your relationships, whether it's family, friends, business partners, with your spouse, with your children, knowing how to communicate, knowing how to circulate your cash effectively, efficiently, pay what needs to be paid, put some up in savings as well as pay it forward, and do that in repetition, confirmation. That within itself will create stability and help you with your balance. And so next we have the Page of Pentacles. And so the Page of Pentacles energy is someone very determined and also open to new opportunities. So if you're willing to be open to new opportunities, Spirit is saying you must proceed. You must move forward. Pick one thing and work on that. You don't have to work on everything at once. There's no need to rush yourself. If you make a mistake, dust yourself off and try again, Especially, I'm picking up whoever has this habit of eating out 5 to 6 days a week. It may be rough for you at the beginning. Maybe you're someone who doesn't cook. Well, Spirit is saying, guess what? This is a good time, and you can have fun with this of learning how to cook. Whether you have to go on social media, look at a cooking channel, buy a cookbook, or take a cooking class, or maybe get in the kitchen with your family and friends and gather and, hey, let's get together and cook a meal. You can turn it into a party. You can turn it into a celebration. You can make it fun, while you're learning how to cook. So there is no such thing as you can't cook. Everybody can boil water. Everyone can pick up some seasoning or some herbs and sprinkle it on some poultry. It can be done. It can be done. And so, yeah, consider taking a cooking class. Consider getting a cookbook. Or really, you can just use social media. Go online. Practice. Start with that. And like I said, get your family, your friends, your spouse, or your children, pull them all in the kitchen and turn it into a party. That's why I'm going to say a fiesta. Turn it into a party. And have fun with it, because it may take you some time, especially if you are someone who just doesn't cook. And there are people out here who don't do that. I'm not one of those. I love to get in the kitchen, okay? But at the same token, you can make it fun. It doesn't have to be something that you dread to do, like, oh man, I gotta go in this kitchen. No. Make it fun, make it fun. Turn on your music, get in the kitchen, and get to grooving. And that's how we have here is the Eight of Swords energy here. And so they don't want you in the energy of feeling stuck or feeling bonded to a situation. As you see, as this person is approaching this porch, this lady here, male or female, is looking like, flabbergasted and in shock. They don't want you being in shock and having you look back later on your life and having the shoulda, woulda, coulda theory, reflecting later on down the line about things you wish you would have paid more attention to. Okay? Well, life is not perfect for anyone, but we can make it better and we can enhance our situation. One thing at a time, one day at a time. Okay? One beat, one moment, 1 second at a time. Okay? And so the next card we have here is the Five of Swords. This represents loss. And so you want to avoid feeling like you have experienced some kind of loss that you will regret, in the future. You don't want to feel, and as well as I hold this card up, the picture in here, also, not having balance in your life, it can affect your relationships, just as I had the Three of Cups. You want to make sure you're gathering with the right people as well. But being in balance, and not taking accountability nor willing to change anything can affect your relationships. And as you see in this picture, it looks like this person is watching possibly their spouse or someone they care about, having some kind of rapport with this person here. But this person doesn't look satisfied. She's got her phone up like, I got him. I caught him. Okay, so you work on one area and it will create a domino effect, creating that harmony. With the Ten of Pentacles represent harmony as well, having a family that has that energy of cohesiveness, that togetherness, that unity, that peace and that grace, you could come together and have great times with the people whom you love in your family. So it matters. It really does matter. It's just like, I must say this because it's in the message. I have to tell you this, water signs. It's just like being in a committed relationship or a marriage, okay, and your spouse is having an affair, and all of a sudden, or it could be you or your spouse having an affair, and all of a sudden you notice there's a change in your finances, or you notice just a lot of things are happening with the finances, things happening around the home, the energy isn't right between you and your spouse, things going array, there's an upheaval at work, for you, for your spouse. And so I'm saying all that to say, you must have balance, and the fact of one person choosing to step out of the relationship and just not be honest, it creates an imbalance, okay? it's the download. I have to convey it. I was going to skip over it, but it came, so I'm going to convey it. It creates a source of imbalance. To each his own. People do what they want to do, but this is a fact, and I stand on that. It's a fact that when you have an agreement with someone and you go outside of that agreement, not just in relationships, in many areas and spaces and places in life, it will create some form of imbalance. What kind, we don't know, but it can take an effect. If you had an agreement, to be, exclusive with one another, to just be you and that person and bring no other outside parties. If one of you step out behind the person's back and your spouse isn't aware, you may feel like you're getting away with it because you don't get caught, or you've been seeing this person for several years and you've never gotten caught. But other things will begin to take place in your life. It could be your finances, it could be your health, it could be at work, it could be your relationships with your friends, your relationships with your family. Lots of different events of friction will occur in your life, around you. Your relationship with your children. You're applying for something and you keep getting disapproved. It's just a good example of maintaining balance. Spirit is saying in one area can affect all other areas. Just like not maintaining balance, such as what I'm explaining about a cheating spouse, can create imbalance and have a domino effect in all areas as well. So, to each his own. We all have our own belief system, but that there is truth and it is fact. And so people feel like they're getting away with something when in actuality, when these different things, these hiccups pop up in life, we're supposed to learn, and so things are going to occur. But I'm talking about things popping up just repetitively. Every time you look up, there's something going on. There's something wrong. It's another problem to solve. Like every day you open your eyes, that's an issue. That's when you know there's some kind of imbalance somewhere. Every now and then, okay, that's normal. But every day of the week, there's some imbalance. There's some reflecting that needs to go on and some reconsideration of, hey, how can I shift this? Okay, that's for somebody out there. That's part of the message, water signs. But if you are concerned about making changes, trust and know that you working on just one area will create a domino effect in a positive way and assist you. It will bring the sun out again in your life, in your finances, in your relationships, the way you communicate, the way you handle your business. If you're applying for something, you're waiting for an approval, you won't be anxious or full of anxiety. You'll have more peace and you'll have an expectation of a positive outcome. Okay? That's for somebody there. And so with the Ace of Swords, Spirit is saying you are receiving clarity of one of the ways, just one of the ways through this read of how to bring everything back into balance when it comes to your wealth. I'm picking up someone is concerned with finances, but Spirit is saying you're focused on the finances and there's nothing wrong with that. You're desiring more finances, more money, and there's nothing wrong with that. But they want you to understand that everything works together for the greater good. How you speak to yourself, what you think about yourself, how you speak to others, how you treat others, it all counts. And it's not about being perfect. It's about choosing one area and just working on it slowly but surely. And after you finish that, you move on to the next. And before you know it, it happens involuntarily when you choose to make progress in your life. Spirit knows, source knows. You can't fool anybody. And when you're taking the right steps, Spirit will take 2 or 3 or sometimes 10 steps ahead of you just to assist you. You will be naturally, automatically, organically pivot to the next area of your life that needs to receive some change or some progress, or some shifting or some elevation or some attention. And it'll happen naturally. And as you move forward, you'll look back and you'll say, wow, I did all that. I did this, and I had no idea. I started off on just not shopping as much, and I ended up saving more money, and then I saved more money. I was able to start a business, and by me starting a business, now I can travel, and then since I can travel, now I'm writing books, that kind of energy. So Yes, in the world we live in, money is required, but they want you to know that it's not in order to manifest and to attract more abundance financially into your life, water signs. It's not just the area of, oh, how can I get this money? It's everything in your life periodically. How you communicate, how you treat people, what you say about people, the energy you put out, the actions you take, how you respond, how you fit. It all counts. It all counts. The people you hang around, the environments you hang around. What is your interest? What kind of people do you deal with? What kind of conversations are you engaging in? Where's your focus? Where's your mental faculties being drawn to on a regular basis? What gets your attention? Are you someone, water signs, who become very allured and very interested when you hear of someone wanting to gossip or slander or terrorize someone? Are you excited, to see someone and at a low vibrational state? Does it excite you? Are you someone who applauds others? Are you likely to engage in gossip? Or are you likely to just, give no comment at all and mind your business? These things count. These things count. And it's a slow process, but it can be done. And it doesn't have to be done with anxiety. There's nothing to fear. Fear does not exist. Just one thing at a time, slowly at your own pace. And I'm telling you, water signs, truth. This is truth. As you move forward, you will look back and you'll be so grateful and thankful. You'll say, wow, I'm so glad that I made progress in that one area. Because once again, it will pivot you in direction one after another. And before you know it, you've completed a long list, a plethora of progress in different pockets and areas of your life that is for your highest good. And you'll be making changes and not even know it. You'll be doing stuff and not even knowing. All of the sudden, you'll start to not take interest in gossip that is about slandering people, or all of a sudden you'll all be mindful of what kind of music you listen to. I'm just naming a few things. All of a sudden you'll start, instead of overspending or over shopping, you're like, no, I don't need that. I can wear this outfit. I only wore it one or two times. Let me wash it, iron it. You'll become more grateful and thankful for who you are and where you are, and that will bring more peace and tranquility into your life. And that peace and that tranquility will give you order in your mind, consciously speaking. It'll give you order, so you'll be able to know how to navigate. Your spirit team is here with you. None of us are never alone. It may look like it in the 3D. You may be watching this video and you may say, well, I don't have any family. I don't have any friends. Yes, you do. All of us are never alone. They may not be here in the spiritual, but they are here in the physical. You know, um, we all have our own spirit group. We all have our own guardian angel. And so uh, just take that into accountability. You'll be so grateful and thankful. And also, this isn't something, because a lot of times when people work on progressing or making changes, there are people who like to keep things private. Spirit is saying this is for somebody, what I'm about to say, that this is between you and Source. This is between you and the Christ within. This is a solo project. This is a personal thing between you and the divine. You don't have to advertise what you're doing. You know, I don't care if it's weight loss. Let's use that. Maybe you want to go to the gym. Maybe you want to lose some weight. You don't have to advertise to everybody what you're doing. If you choose to do that, trust and believe they're going to be critical. They're going to intercept your progress. And their energy attached to your progress will not be beneficial. You can do what you want, but when you're working on progress, it's best to just move in silence. You don't have to hide, but just do you. You don't have to show and prove confirmation. You don't have to show and prove everything that you're doing. Everybody don't need to know every little step you take. Every little step I take, you know, you don't have to let everybody be there. It's really not that important, because a person either is going to be, They're either going to be a benefit or they're going to be a liability. One or the other. They're either going to benefit you, or they're going to be a liability. It's just like social media. People either click on a video to either be inspired or they click on it just to criticize. It's one or the other. And I appreciate those who come to be inspired or find a spark within themselves. Maybe a word or a phrase I mentioned may remind you of something or create a spark in you, spiritually speaking, that will pivot you in a direction that's for your highest good. There is nothing more or less taking place on this channel, but a person is either going to be, for your highest good or not at all, so yeah, water signs. Yeah. And so the next card we have here is the King of Swords, okay? And so you see this person is, reading a book, okay? So maybe you want to maybe get back to reading, okay? There's someone who used to do a lot of reading. You could have a lot of books in your home that you have purchased, that you have collected through the years. You could be someone that's saying, you know what, I'm going to get back to reading my books. Reading is, it's fundamental, but it's also another fun activity. I like reading myself because it's like you can paint a mental picture as you read. It's very relaxing, it's very calming, and it's very healthy for you, especially if you want to critique your reading skills. Keep up with the ability to read as well. So you could be someone who's saying, I want to get back to that. You want to increase your mental power, okay? Through reading, increasing your mental power. And so, water signs, you will be pulling out, all the tricks of the trade, okay? When I say tricks of the trade, all of your skills, all of your strength, your faith, your wisdom, you will be using all of your abilities, your intuition, and, you will mesh this into the energy of the magician to make the changes in your life that you are desiring to see. And you will be successful. You will be successful. I see a positive outcome and things turning around for you because the people I'm speaking to have already agreed, and some of you could have already have made some of these changes that I've mentioned. Even if it's not being around someone that is negative. I believe I mentioned that. To be mindful of being around people who think in lack, speak in lack. That can deplete your finances. It's very important who you allow into your space and your place, in your life, in your household, around your children. It's very important who you communicate with on a daily basis. If there's someone who is negative, if someone always, woe is me, or did you hear about the price of chicken? Did you hear? Someone always complaining, and never grateful. These things will affect your finances, will affect your wealth, will affect your ability to see and make those steps towards progress. So if I haven't mentioned that, I had to mention that. So be mindful because your whole goal, water signs, is to move forward towards progress, not stress, not a mess. The water signs want to go towards progress in their life in one way or another. So as I said, just pick one area of your life and work on that and take your time doing it. And you don't have to announce it to anyone, especially if you're someone who wants to lose weight or work out in the gym. You don't have to share that with nobody. Just work out. If you want to get on a diet, just do the diet. You don't have to announce it because if you do, people are going to intercept it. And that goes with anything. That's just like telling somebody, oh, I'm engaged now. And guess what they're going to do? Hound you about the wedding day. Say they won't do it. Yes, they will. They going, well, so when's that wedding day? See, you give them nothing, they have nothing to work with. You give them everything, and they'll be all up in your ish. People love being in the business of minding your business. This concludes the read for the water signs. Later.